oil impregnated bronze sleeve. Hey y'all, what's up? Goats here. I got the 4Runner behind me, and today we're going to be working on the 4Runner because it has a massive front end vibration, shake, rattle, weirdness going on. So I've been slowly replacing steering components. It has new rack and pinion bushings. It's got new lower control arms. It's got new inner outer tie rods. It's got new sway bar links, and I'm still having this vibration issue. After doing some research, I figured out that the differential on this particular 4Runner and some Tacomas and Tundras has a needle bearing on the driver's side, and when you lift the vehicle, you change the geometry of the CV axle going into the differential, and over time that needle bearing goes bad. It cannot handle the change in angle from the CV axle, and what you end up with is a massive vibration in the front end. So what I did after doing some research is I found this company, East Coast Gear Supply. They make a oil impregnated bronze bushing or sleeve that replaces that needle bearing, and they also make a special tool to pull that needle bearing out because it is pressed into the differential. So I'm going to be pulling that needle bearing out and putting in this bronze sleeve to get rid of some of the play coming out of the CV axle. What I'm going to be doing today is taking off the driver wheel and tire. I'll be removing the CV axle and getting into that needle bearing inside the differential, because if I continue to drive the vehicle this way, what could happen is some metal could shear, and then that metal is going to get into the differential gearing, and I'm going to have major issues on my hands. I don't want to deal with that, so I'd like to go ahead and knock this out. The 4Runner's actually been parked for probably a month and a half now, if not longer, because of this issue. I've been driving the Land Cruiser around because I didn't want to mess up the 4Runner, and I've been working on other projects and just been busy, so I have not had a chance to get back on the 4Runner, but that's going to change today as we're going to work on it and get it back running correctly. So I've made other videos on replacing CV axles on the front end of this 4Runner, so I'm not really going to show you that process today, but what I will show you when I get down into the needle bearing in the differential is I'll show you what that looks like and what to expect, and I'll show you the oil impregnated bronze sleeve that East Coast Gear Supply makes. Kind of like saying that, oil impregnated bronze sleeve. Oil impregnated bronze sleeve. It's like, why do you have to say that? Why can't I just say bronze bushing? It's a bushing for the CV axle. I don't know, I have to add the oil impregnated part. I mean, that is factually what it is, but oil impregnated, I don't know. Anyways, I'll show you what that looks like, and I'll show you what to expect inside the differential. Let's get to it. This is everything that I ordered from East Coast Gear Supply. So they hooked me up with the T-seal for the differential in case I ruin mine when I pull it out. I can't remember if you really need to pull the T-seal out to get to the needle bearing, but probably best if you do. Is probably going to get ruined because this is their little specialized tool. So this will go into the differential and go, these lips right here will go behind the needle bearing, and then you'll tighten this nut to pull the needle bearing slowly out of the differential. So I highly recommend having this little tool that they have made to make the job easier. And this here is the drift, or the tool to tap in the bronze bushing, which the bronze bushing's right here. Mine kind of got damaged in shipping. A little bit, there's a little scarring right there, and or maybe it was already like that. I don't know, that kind of sucks. It's not a huge deal. The inner side looks really good, so not terribly worried about that. But if you notice here, you've got two different edges. So you see that double up lip, and then this is more flat. This side faces outward towards the wheel. So what you'll do is you'll get this started, and then you'll take this drift, slot it like that, and then hammer this until it slowly gets into the differential and seats itself where the needle bearing was. So that's what to expect from that. And this here is a little aluminum disc to tap in the T-seal to keep from ripping it or damaging the springs inside that. And that's all I got. So it was awesome that I could order everything from them. I'll put a link in the description below because they make these for the 4Runner, Tacoma, and I'm pretty sure that the Tundra also they make these for the Tundra as well. So you can go on their website, plug in your year, make, model, and they'll get you the right stuff that you're gonna need. So super easy to get the parts that you need. I think in total I spent around $100 for all of this, maybe a little bit more, maybe like 120, but it'll be worth it. Some of the stuff's probably not necessary. You may not need a T-seal, you may not need this tool, so I did spend a little bit of extra just to make my life easier, but this is what I got. So I'm gonna start taking apart the front end on the 4Runner and get into that differential. I got the CV axle out, and you can see here that inner gear is called the spider gear, I believe. And then if I can get my hand in here without blocking too much of the light, just so I can point out, this here is the needle bearing that we're gonna replace. So I need to go get the special tool because you can see there's a gap behind the needle bearing, and what I have to do is slot that tool right here where my index finger is behind the needle bearing, and then I will tighten that nut to slowly pull out this bearing. I'm gonna go grab the tool and try and get this thing out. Seems like I can get one edge of it in. And like that's slotted in there. Other side, it's probably gonna have to be tapped. So let's try and tap it in. Whoop, did that get it? We're in. That was easy. Okay, now suppose we thread this like so. Okay, got a good bite. And yeah, that might damage that. I'm gonna try and lay it flat like that. Okay, we're snugged up, and I actually don't know which size wrench I need. Well, if I just grab this adjustable, say screw it. Hopefully I got enough room. There you have it. So now, you feel this surface. It actually feels good. Didn't mar it or anything like that. I'll show you a closer look of this needle bearing. The camera does not want to focus. It actually seems like it's in good shape. It's a little like ground up. It like, you hear that? Huh. Well, screw it. I think I can pull this out now. I don't think I need this. There we go. So this is the sleeve or bushing, and I did end up sanding it. You can see that little notch right there where my thumb is. That was where it was kind of gouged and the metal was raised up. So I just sanded it with some 1000 grit just to get it nice and smooth. And remember, this side goes in and then this side faces the wheel. So we're gonna tap it in just like this. And we'll use this drift, this aluminum tool. You slot it in and tap it. And that should get it fully seated. So let's get to tapping. I want to try and get it like flush too, or like, you know, relatively centered and flush. I don't want to tap this thing in at an angle or anything like that. So I'm trying to pull back and take a look at it. And I guess I'm gonna lay down and tap. Doesn't seem like it wants to go in any further, but that's still a pretty big lip. I think it's supposed to go in further. Per their instructions, it's supposed to be flush. Now it looks like I've got about 2 millimeter gap here. Bushing is not going all the way in. I guess we keep trying. I guess I just needed to hammer harder. Because it's flush now. Looks good. That should fix the excess play in the CV axle. So now it's time for me to get it all bolted back together. And I actually have another CV axle. So I'm going to inspect this one, just make sure it's okay. But the boots are not leaking. It seems like it's in good shape, but part of me wants to just put the new one in while I'm in here. But if it's not broken, don't fix it, yeah? Just kind of leave it. So maybe we'll just reuse this one, but I'll get it back together and then we're gonna do some tests, take it for a drive, see what happens. There you have it. I did go ahead and replace the T-seal on the differential. Mine looked okay, but I figure I was in here and I bought the part, so I might as well just pull the old one out. It was sealed just fine though. I guess if your removal tool slipped or something, you could end up damaging the T-seal, but in my case, that didn't happen. But it's got a new one in anyway, so now we're ready to put it back together. This thing is not really moving at all anymore. So that's a major difference. And that is going to do it for the bushing install from East Coast Gear Supply. I'm currently driving the 4Runner. My front end vibration is gone and this thing is driving really smooth now. Overall, I'm really happy with the bushing and how it has improved the front end feel of this vehicle. While doing this work, I also took a look at my drive shaft just in case there was some vibration coming from there, because I did notice, aside from the steering wheel shaking really bad, I also noticed that I had kind of a droning sound around 60 to 70 miles per hour. It was like a humming slash vibration, but it did not feel like it was coming from the front end. So I looked at the U-joint connected to the rear axle and the drive shaft, and turns out the U-joint was going bad. It was very clicky, had a lot of play in it. and I replaced that U-joint, and now the 4Runner feels nice and smooth again. It's such a fun vehicle to drive, especially with the supercharger. So if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like the content, hit that thumbs up button, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this in the future. Peace out, everybody.